Camarillo, head instructor, Camarillo Jiu-Jitsu. And 2013, our kids took third in the SJJIF, in the United States. I believe our adults were fifth that year, and hopefully this year we're aiming to do the same thing.
Basics win tournaments. The best way to stack your points, the best way to beat your opponent with a 1-2 punch, to set up your submission. Of course, position before submission is basics. So we drill a lot of basics pre-tournament. We do a lot of standing guard pass and a lot of your more fundamental jiu-jitsu.
We really like the SJJIF tournaments. We like the way it's ran. They're usually on time. Mostly they're organized, fair, and we've just had a great experience with them. So. I've been doing judo since I was 4 years old. In judo I started competing since I was 6. So my main background is judo, and I mixed it in with the jiu-jitsu, and that's kind of how I teach here. It's mostly jiu-jitsu here, but I prefer my students throw rather than pull guard, and so I kind of push them to try and learn some throws from time to time. And some of our kids are getting pretty decent at the throwing. Jiu-jitsu is an Olympic sport. I would love to see it as an Olympic sport. I think that there's one main thing that's holding it back, and that's the rules between different organizations. You go to one tournament and you have a whole different set of rules. Some allow heel hooks at young ages, some allow them at blue belt level. So your takedowns are differently scored. Some allow slams, and until all these different tournaments come to an agreement on the rules, I don't think you're going to see it as an Olympic sport. I think that's the main thing holding it back. I've always said this, one of the hardest things to do is to show up to class. So if you have a person that at least shows up to class and gets on the mat, that's the first hurdle. The second hardest thing to do is actually compete. It's not made for everybody. If I were to tell somebody to try to encourage them to compete, I always tell them, man, at least do it once. You really learn a lot competing. I've had guys go and compete, and then they tell me that they've learned more at one competition than they have the whole month. It just really wakes them up, and they start building their game off of a tournament. And I think it's super important depending on how good you want to get at jiu-jitsu. Some of the main things that I see people getting caught in are the submissions. I'm not a point player, so I like to get the submission. I like to see my students get those submissions, so we really focus on getting out and getting the submissions. And I think the main reason why we get, someone would get caught is letting people close guard, and we focus on not letting them close guard. And once we pass, I always tell them to attack, no matter if they've got 100 points or 30 seconds left with 20 points. I'm still going to have them attack. I want to see them submit. So we do a lot of submissions.
Well, thank you, Professor, for allowing us in your gym.
Thank you.